Thanks a lot for inviting us today to this community webinar. It's really great for us. It's always a pleasure to attend this and to share feedback with your community and ours probably from our journey together and what we have done with XOSTOR. So for those who don't know me, and probably a lot of them, a lot of you are not knowing me, I'm indeed Marc-André Pezin. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Vates, and I've been in the company since more than 8 years. So I have a fairly complete view of what we do across the company at Vates, but I'm not the developer background type. Since I'm still working with engineering teams since like so long, I'm not either the typical, marketing guys there. So I have a fairly quite good understanding, I would say, on technical topic, but don't push me too far, please. That's the reason why I'm joined today by Yann Lebris, which is one of our senior solution architect and a solution expert at Vates. He joined Vates a few months ago already. And he will be leading the demo part of this session, of the today's session. So today we are happy to discuss about XOSTOR. So it's the hyperconverged storage solution that we developed conjointly with the LINBIT folks, and that is natively embedded into XCP-ng hypervisor. And XOSTOR has been officially released in 2024, so it's more than a year since its official release in production. And it's for us, it looks like a great moment to look back a little bit and see what we have achieved, what lesson we have learned, because we have learned a lot of things working on that project, and also share some feedback and some glimpse into the future and what we are working on in the coming months and years on XOSTOR. Before diving into XOSTOR itself, let me do just a very quick recap about Vates. We are a French company. We have been founded in 2012 by 3 French entrepreneurs. We still own the majority of the company right now. And since that time, we have grown as an international team. We are almost 100 people in the company today, serving customers worldwide and expanding rapidly specifically since the acquisition of VMware by Broadcom. Since we are really close in design, as you can see on the right panel, that's our design is really close from what's doing VMware. We are also type 1 hypervisor and so on. And we have a complete stack, a complete integrated stack. Nevertheless, our philosophy differs a lot with VMware, of course. We are an open source company. We are dedicated to open source and committed to it. It's really part of our DNA. And since 2022, we are also recognized as Gartner as one of the key player and one of the 2 only vendor solution in the market, in the virtualization market, as a top 20 global players in the virtualization field. Our main business is to develop and maintains the Vates virtualization management stack, but also to build a rich ecosystem around it and provide world-class support wherever our customers are located. And that's the reason why today we have the French headquarters, because we're still a French-based company, but we also have subsidiary in Italy and specifically in the United States, mainly for support and business reason. So we are able to provide support all over the globe, following the sun and doing 24/7 support. So part of our stack and part of the job we have is to deliver a rich ecosystem, and XOSTOR, as you can see, is part of it. It's our equivalent, our very own equivalent to VSAN in the VMware world, and that's the focus of today, of course. And I'm teasing a little bit with DC scope and DC Netscope there. That's not today's focus, but that will be the VMware area equivalent. So we are really focused into developing and expanding the ecosystem that is compatible with our solution, with our virtualization stack. In short, we provide a fully integrated alternative to VMware that's simpler, that is integrated, that is predictable, and obviously, because it's not really complicated, that is cost effective when it's compared to VMware. So when we talk about XOSTOR, let me recap a little bit where we are coming from, the original context, because our team, Vates and LINBIT, we met back in 2020, and that's when the initial partnership started at the office of LINBIT in Vienna back in 2020. And at that time, it was, and it's still, by the way, it still is a very natural alliance. We are two European companies. Both of us are working into open source. We are providing open source solution, and we have very complementary expertise. We brings our knowledge on the virtualization, and LINBIT has unmatched experience in storage and more specifically on DRBD technology. So together, in 2020, we set as a shared goal to deliver a simple, reliable, open source, hyperconvergent solution that is natively integrated into what was not yet named Vates VMS, but into the XCP-ng hypervisor at the time. And for us, it was not just about making it a functional solution. It was also building something that is fully integrated, fully supported, that provides a seamless experience to the user, and that is production ready, working out of the box, and for which Vates is still the first layer of support. So we can scale it to the LINBIT team, but still, if you have an issue with XOSTOR into XCP-ng, you can open a support ticket as any regular customers, and it will be handled in the very same way as if LINBIT was not involved at the first place. So as you can probably notice, it has not been an easy task because we started the discussion in 2020, and our first initial production release was actually in 2024. So it has been 4 years of hard work from both our teams, and we learned a lot in the process, and we will come back on that a little bit later about what we learned. So XOSTOR was officially released in April 24, and it has now been more than a year in production. This gives us enough insight now to reflect on how it has been adopted, how it has performed on the field, what we are seeing for the future of the solution. And we have seen over the last year that adoption has been broad and has been diverse. We have seen XOSTOR deployed into service providers, cloud service providers environments, in education, in telecom environments, and also in public organization as well. So that is the diversity that is showing to us that it's not like a niche market. It's not only for a specific set of users in a very specific industrial verticals. It's a solution that has the potential to be adopted widely and for a wide range of use cases. Over this first year of production, let's say, our development team for XOSTOR has been focused mainly on maturity, instead of rushing for new features, we have prioritized reliability, stability, and performance improvements. We wanted to make sure that the solution could be trusted into production environments. And for us, going into production was also the only way to confront a real-world scenario we would never have been able to test if we were stayed in a lab environment forever. So it has been a long run, and we have done a lot of little improvements that overall brings the solution to an overall stability today that we're really happy with. And the other important part during that first year of release for XOSTOR has been that now XOSTOR is fully compatible with XCP-ng 8.3 LTS. So it's quite an important work. It was quite an important work to ensure long-term stability and support for the customers that rely on our new LTS version, because we deprecated XCP-ng 8.2 only a few months ago, and I believe there is still an overlapping of the two. So we're really happy that XOSTOR is now also fully compatible, fully working on XCP-ng 8.3. It was a really important milestone for us as well. So as I say, we have learned quite a lot of things during the process and during that year of production. And that's what really matters, is what we have learned from the field, what we have learned from the real use case, what our customers are asking, the feedback that we get. So over the past year, the real deployments that we have out there, they have been helping a lot for us to learn things that were existing and that we were not using properly into the solution. So one important outcome of that has been learning how to leverage existing properties available, especially regarding the failure and the failure detection and the high availability. So we have now been able to achieve near instant failure detection. That was not the case originally, and it was because we were not using all the set of properties that were available into the RBD. So it's a big improvement for the user into production, and something we have learned being into the field with a real case of customers. Another improvement have been the command execution. We have introduced a lock detection before running a command, and we have seen significant improvement in when we perform a series of commands. So when you are testing on a small batch of commands, it's not really noticeable, but when you start to have real production workload and not a lab workload, you will see a significant evolution in the performance since we are now detecting where the lock is before performing a command into the environment. More important and beyond that, very two operational learns and improvement that we have made in the solution during that year, we also gain a very deep architectural perspective that we clearly needed in order to move forward, and that will be really instrumental into the next major evolution of XOSTOR. And we have now a clear roadmap when it comes to building XOSTOR on our next storage layer that we are currently working on within the company. That is the main focus of all the storage developer in the XCP-ng team right now, is building what we call SMAPI v3, which is the storage layer overall, not only for XOSTOR, but in the case of XOSTOR, it will be really important. And we are designing that storage layer, that new storage layer, to support and around XOSTOR itself and the RBD itself. So it will allow us to push scalability and reliability even further in the future. So that concludes on my side that quick recap. And I will let the floor to Yann that will demonstrate, that will do a quick demonstration. It's quite short, really, to see what we can do, because it's actually quite fairly simple. I mean, past the deployment of the solution, you have something running, and hopefully it is running without you having to use the interface very often. But Yann, please, if you want to take over on me, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Let me share my screen. So here, I am on the right. Yes, here we have the default view of Xen Orchestra. Just to be clear, here it's the V5. At the end of the year, we will have the new one. So here it's on beta, and it's the future of Xen Orchestra. But no, we are not here to discuss about Vates, but about LINBIT. The implementation of LINBIT product, it's here on XOSTOR. It's fully integrated. So for example, to create a new data store or a storage repository for the VM, we have this tab, XOSTOR. We go on new. I will call it XOSTOR. Here, I can select for the replication 1, 2, or 3. In this case, I will use the default one, it's 2. We can select also if for the VM we want to have thin provisioning or thick provisioning. I will keep everything by default. And here, I have a pool. A pool on Xen Orchestra, it's the equivalent of VMware cluster. It's definitely the same, only the words are different. Here, I need to select my host. It's automatically detect which disk meet the LINBIT product requirement. I select my disk one by one. So here, it's directly drive on physical host. Here it's a physical NVMe. I let everything else by default and click on create. Here it's okay. during this process, if it's the first time that you perform the deployment, it will be installed automatically all the dependency from LINBIT. It's also apply for you the license. It's a full automated process. So here it's under creation. If we go on the tasks tab, currently it's all the 4 hosts are currently create the LINBIT file system and sync it across the 4 hosts. So it takes a couple of minutes. So it's normally it's very quick. And we only need to wait for the creation process.
I do believe that you already have like a XOSTOR on this pool that was written into the deploy thing, no? Maybe I'm missing.
No, it's here. It's
okay, right, my bad.
Yes, and here I think it's okay. It's okay. We're near the end. Perfect. When for the creation process, it's finished. We have a redirection on the storage repository view. It's like a data store in VMware world. We have type, it's link store. We have a specific tab. And here, for example, we have all the database overview. We can migrate. So I have prepared a VM. It's a basics VM. No, it's here. I will migrate the VM to this data store. Migrate XOSTOR. So here it's like storage vMotion. So we are currently migrate everything into the LINBIT storage. I hope we have some time for it. I not tested before. And about the licensing, here we have the XOSTOR license. Here it's a trio, but it's the license that we have. I think I will cut it because we do not have time to do everything in this session. Sorry, it's not. And if I will go back on the storage view, XOSTOR. So here we are. Oh, okay, so it's working. Here we are using this one as the main controller. I will create an issue. So I am SSH. I need to stop the DRDB reactor. Okay, so here it's normal. I have cut it. And I will stop the LINSTOR controller. Currently, it's on this unit, and it will be migrate on another one. So we need to wait a couple of seconds to have everything up to date. Okay, it's starting for the discovery. Okay, so here for the controller, we pass from the first one to the second one, and without any interruption on production. So this is the implementation of the LINBIT product, everything directly from the web UI. And we also have dedicated documentation for some specific case. And our support team work in the end of the LINBIT support team.
I think maybe one interesting thing is the interface part. As we do recommend, and that's good practice, that you create a dedicated interface dedicated for the XOSTOR
Yes.
storage. So you can create interface from
Yes.
there. I think it's maybe worth it to show it.
Yes, here it's current lab did not allow it. But in fact, here we have the default interfaces, and we can create other one, but here it's not working. And we are able to switch from the default one to another one to have dedicated interfaces, and we recommend each time to have at least 10 gigabytes per second per interfaces. The other element that I perform during the deployment, it's on the host, on the hypervisor. I have passed the default memory from the control domain to 16 gigabytes per second, 60 gigabytes of memory to be able to have good performance for the LINBIT product. So if you have any question,
Thank you for the presentation. Maybe before diving into the question, if there is, I have one last slide that will conclude the presentation about the roadmap. It's really short. I would just introduce what we are planning to do for next year. Hopefully next year. I won't be too optimistic there. I've learned my lesson as well. So what's coming for XOSTOR? To wrap up this presentation on our side, the biggest milestone, I already introduced a little bit about that just before, but it's MAPI v3. So MAPI v3 is the new storage layer for XCP-ng overall. And because we are building it, taking into account the design that we want, and we know that we want it for XOSTOR in this version, it will help us to remove many limitations of the current architecture. And it will be aligned with the RBD specification. It will be way more easier for us to expose new features, to improve the performance, reliability, and so on. So MAPI v3 will be kind of a revolution for the next iteration, the next major edition of XOSTOR. We have a couple of other features that we are exploring right now. Nothing is really started around that, but there is, first, we are exploring the capabilities to have a 2-node setup. Right now, XOSTOR, it's a minimum of 3 nodes because of the split brain scenario that we want to avoid, and for the core ROM. We are exploring, because we have a customer in the real world that has like 200 stores. In each store, they have like 2 hosts, and they would really like to do hyperconvergence. The issue is that they basically don't want to add an extra host in each of their stores. So we are exploring the capability to maybe have a witness node that would be hosted somewhere else, like in the cloud, for instance, and that could be acting as the core ROM and could potentially do that for multiple XOSTOR nodes. So one host in the cloud could be the witness for multiple pool of XOSTOR out there in a remote office branch office setup. So that's one of the exploration that we have. It's theoretically feasible. We know that we could do it. It will require, of course, development implementation, and we certainly hope that this real use case scenario will be helpful for us to have a live testing bed to implement that and test on that. On the management side, we are also working, as Yann was saying, give you a glimpse of it, but we're working on the next major version of Xen Orchestra, which integrates a complete revamp UI, basically a complete new web interface, a more modern and streamlined UI, and that of course, that means XOSTOR part of the UI will also benefit for this new UI. We will work on much better experience for administrator and to have better menu, better readability, better localization of the features into the menu, and so on. So that will improve overall the easiness of accessibility, let's say, for the administrators that are using XOSTOR. And finally, as for our users are always really central into our roadmap definition, we are planning to start interview with some of our community users or customers in order to capture feedback from real work usage and to help us to shape the priority features that people are expecting to see in XOSTOR for the future. And with that, it's a wrap up for Vates team on this presentation. And thank you again. And of course, if there is any question, I think we would be more than happy to answer them.
Awesome. Thank you, Marc and Yann. We did have a couple questions come in, and I just wanted to also say thank you for joining us. It's cool that you guys were a little bit ahead of the whole, curve of people switching hypervisors, thinking about this in 2020. So that's really awesome. So we had one come in. The first one is asking, are there any pain points in migrating to XOSTOR from a different platform?
No, in fact, we have a tools for calling V2V. It's VMware to Vates. For example, if you have a VSAN or a VMware infrastructure, it's web tools with web UI. So you are able to migrate from VMware directly to a VMS solution with XOSTOR.
Yeah, I would add like once it's deployed, XOSTOR in XCP-ng, it's treated exactly as a regular storage. I mean,
Yes.
You have an extra storage. It could be HBA, it could be NFS, it could be whatever, but it can be XOSTOR. So as soon as it's created, it can be used the very same way as any other type of storage. So there is no specific limitation on that, to my knowledge.
Awesome. Thank you both. And second question, I guess maybe a little bit more on the sales side of things. What are some of the industries so far that you've seen, interest in XOSTOR?
I would say that it's very diverse. Right now, we have seen of course, some exploration. It's as I said in one of the first slides, it's not really a very specific niche or a very specific verticals that we address. We have seen customers adopting XOSTOR into telecoms, into cloud provider, into specific remote office, branch office. I was speaking just before. Someone is currently exploring. It's a large retail company that has small deployments all over the United States. We have seen public organizations like cities or community groupments, stuff like that, public educational as well. We have universities that are using XOSTOR since a while now. So it's really diverse, and I would say that the more typically, I think that we notice it's usually a size of customers more than a specific industry type. It's broad across the industry, but in terms of size of customers, right now, and we of course we start to address larger customers, but we tend to see like the typical deployment that is using XOSTOR is somewhere between 5 hosts, physical hosts, to 20 hosts, let's say. It's where we shine right now, probably with XOSTOR. Yeah.
Yes, and generally it's also more for technical reason. For example, we have a couple of customers who have different location, only the possibility to have 3 hosts because it's mandatory, and to be able to have a redundant storage. The only way currently with a VMS stack, it's XOSTOR with LINBIT.
Awesome. So I'd imagine it's, thinking about smaller customers, thinking about people who only have 3 hosts, it's probably a great fit for the buzzword of edge deployments.
Yeah.
People who have machines close to where the work's
Yeah.
being done, and not a lot of infrastructure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And the fact that we are also compatible, like Vates supports every x86 deployment. So basically into the edge ecosystem where you typically see some kind of exotic hardware being deployed, that's a really, really plus that you can actually use XOSTOR and being supported by Vates on the hypervisor part. So yeah, edge deployment but still edge is still like a niche for us. At least for us, edge is still a small chunk of our customers base that are deploying into edge. Maybe we will see some evolution in the future, and surely XOSTOR is a nice fit for this kind of infrastructure.